Hi Sag, this is a reading for May 2019. This is going to be for Sagittarius, Sun, Moon and Ascendant sign. And while I'm doing this reading for May 2019, if you happen to come across this playlist or this video sometime other than during that time, May 2019, still be relevant, feel free to watch through, and if there's messages for you, take them. Most of the readings on this channel will be filled with timeless wisdom that can apply to any situation. So feel free to explore other videos on this channel and just click on anything that you feel guided to watch. So Sag, while we're shuffling here, please focus all of your attention with me and tune in. Connect with me, connect with the deck. Check in with your higher self. Ask your higher self to tune into my higher self so that we can create a feedback loop. That way we can ensure that this reading provides really specific and relevant messages that are tailored for you. Let's take a look. Okay. So at the heart of the reading, you have the Five of Pentacles upright, crossed by the Ace of Cups. So this is telling me that you may be experiencing a little bit of a tricky moment at this time, where you might be dealing with either a physical illness. You might not be in the most best of health, or you may be dealing with some kind of financial difficulty or a financial loss. There's also the Seven of Pentacles here in the position of the outcome in the reverse position. This could also confirm that there may be some kind of financial issue at the moment where perhaps more is going out than is coming in, or maybe you might be dealing with the result of an investment that you've made that hasn't come to fruition and hasn't been as successful that you may have hoped. But other cards here are suggesting that while that may be the case, there's no reason for despair, and there's no reason for like a loss of hope, because what I'm seeing here is an energy around, I'm hearing fulfillment. I'm seeing other cards here in the reading that are sort of indicating that there's a kind of course correction going on here. And while you may have had a difficult moment here with a specific energy around reward and investment or financial gain, there's been an important lesson here for you in regards to like following the highest path of like an emotional fulfillment, rather than taking the direction of what looks like a good idea. I hope that's making sense. You have the Ace of Cups, Two of Cups, and the Three of Cups in your reading. I like this. As well as the King of Cups. The King of Cups is in the position of the reading where it shows where you've just come from. So recent past, and it's in reverse here. But these three cards are all in the upright position, and this is the Ace of Cups is what's crossing you at the heart of the reading. And the Two and the Three of Cups are here describing how you see yourself at this time. Which is why I kind of described there the feeling of having maybe come through a difficult moment right now, or maybe you're experiencing a type of difficulty, but there is already evidence that you can see the benefit of this experience, in that it's teaching you and showing you where to put your energy in a real life way in order to create situations and outcomes for you that are more about joy and pleasure and the sensual joy of life, rather than just pure financial or economic gain. And I think this King of Cups here in the reverse position coming into the reading may be indicating that perhaps connected to this financial loss, but perhaps independently, that maybe you haven't been so emotionally fulfilled or satisfied or buoyant recently, but that you're seeing that there is a kind of optimism or buoyancy that's coming through here, showing me that you've kind of already understood what the lesson was for you here in this situation, where you may have experienced a physical or a financial loss in some way. Now, We have also here in the environment the Judgment card upright with the Eight of Cups in reverse. This is kind of saying to me that, again, this may have been a difficult time. There may have been some factors at play that have been influencing you in a way which have been a little bit trying and a bit challenging. But seeing this pairing of cards here is telling me that it's been like you can already see that it's a valuable lesson and that you've already gleaned a lot from this experience in very beneficial ways. Like, I don't see you feeling sorry for yourself here. I don't see yourself kind of wallowing in pity or feeling downtrodden or being bummed out or depressed. But rather I'm seeing that you can see that, yes, it may have been a trying time, but you can see like what has been revealed by it as a result of the situation. And you are able to take that experience and turn it into wisdom as a result of a challenging moment. In the hopes and fears, you have the Fool and the Devil, both upright, two major arcana cards here. This is saying to me that you may have some, like the hopes and fears are kind of describing here that you are hopeful and ready and available to kind of move forward into the next cycle of whatever it is that's opening up here in a way that's very optimistic, very trusting, having come through something difficult, but not holding on to any resentment or any cynicism or jadedness as a result of that, but rather being able to kind of just take only what you need. You know, you see the little rucksack here that he's carrying. This is a symbol showing that out of a difficult cycle, out of a difficult time, you're able to just glean what you need from it, and you don't come forward with any baggage or leftover unfinished business of pain or remorse or guilt or difficulty or pity or shame or anything, but rather just take the good things, take the positive and beneficial lessons out of your experience, convert them into wisdom, and move forward with that in a way that allows you to burst forward into the next part of life with a renewed sense of optimism and hope, trusting that the next thing that you move into will have a different experience and have a different outcome for you. And you need not come forward with this kind of fear-based attachment or dependency or clutching and clinging onto certain types of energies as a way of trying to restore or resolve something from the past that you can actually just safely leave behind. Now this Eight of Swords is the crowning card of your reading, and the Four of Swords is at the foundation in the subconscious mind. I like this actually. What this is saying to me is that you have actually broken through out of a time period where you may have felt like you couldn't understand what was going on, or what was the purpose or the I'm hearing currency. What was the reason for your difficulty or your challenge? And this is saying to me that you've been able to reveal and expose to yourself how you were actually orchestrating your own situation, even though of course there's always other players in our stories. This is telling me that you've been able to reveal with honesty and clarity and humility the truth of how and why your situation turned out the way it did. And this is a very empowering feeling that you're moving forward here with real understanding, with real clarity, and with real honesty, with your integrity intact, in order to, again, move forward into a kind of new cycle and the next part of life with a trusting optimism and a buoyancy that brings you the opportunities to have another go at something without any residual, as I said, cynicism or jadedness or resentment or any kind of like threads of baggage that are potentially for those types of things, if you carry them forward, could potentially create a rewrite of the same kind of scenario, but maybe with different characters. So it's good that you do this kind of homework now and like really strive to meditate on the experience that you've had and work to really understand with clarity and with honesty exactly what played out in a real way, not just in a kind of try to make yourself feel better kind of a way, but with a real genuine authority and authenticity. Okay. And then the final cards of your reading here, you have the Tower with the Queen of Swords. This is kind of reiterating what I just said there, where I feel like the situation may have hurt your ego a little bit. I'm hearing pride. There may have been some difficulty here in experiencing what you've just been through, as far as, you know, there may have been not the result that you had hoped for or expected in a situation. But being that the Tower is here with the Queen of Swords, again, I feel that there is this energy here around like the value in the experience, like the wisdom that's gleaned from a situation, while it may have been trying and difficult and may still be like wrapping up. You might not be completely through all of this yet, but there is a feeling here with these two cards together that you're able to come out of this or come through this with a lot of value. Like you're gleaning a lot of value from the experience by taking away the real truth of what there is to be learned from this situation. And again, revealing with the Eight of Swords reverse, revealing the truth of the matter and understanding your responsibility and in what had actually played out, without trying to absolve yourself of any responsibility and without trying to lay blame in places where it doesn't go. Even if players in your story may have acted irresponsibly or may have been dishonest or whatever, there could have definitely been some, you know, factors at play here that affected your personal outcome. But this is telling me that it's important to understand that the responsibility for the situation as a whole, and this is always true of every situation, each individual must take responsibility for how things played out, and learning and understanding about karmic ties, about karmic contracts, about unfinished business from previous situations, and what it is that we have to learn from each other when certain factors come together to enable us to kind of play out certain scenarios that give us the chance to review certain synergies of energy. I hope that's making sense. The bottom of the deck, we have the World in reverse, Six of Wands upright, the Magician, and the Wheel of Fortune in reverse. Interesting cards here. Three majors. What this is telling me is that the situation hasn't completely finished yet. The World in reverse, even though you have the Fool card here in the reading, where is that? The Fool card is upright, indicating that there is a new beginning really close by, but this World in reverse here is just the last card of the major arcana, and the Fool is the first. So World in reverse is suggesting that there is still some tying up of loose ends. There's still some completion that needs to be resolved or wrapped up. Okay, but with the Six of Wands here as its pairing card, it's saying to me that even though, as I said, this may not have been a fruitful experience, you are actually walking away victorious and successful out of this situation, because you're taking truth with you. You're collecting all the valuable lessons and information and understanding that's here for you, the opportunity that you have here to really understand some valuable things, some very key pertinent lessons. And that's what's giving you this feeling of victory and success. It's not necessarily a financial reward. It's what you're coming away with understanding and learning. The wisdom that you're gathering is what is the success here. And then the Magician upright with the Wheel of Fortune in reverse. Interesting, again, you have like Judgment, Magician, Wheel of Fortune, and World. These are all kind of key cards in the major arcana that describe cycles. They describe how energy can be channeled into a situation to kind of navigate and influence a specific course of an event or an action. And seeing you here as the Magician with the Wheel of Fortune, with the Wheel of Fortune being in reverse, is interesting because I don't believe in luck. I'm very careful not to use the word luck, but it's really hard not to with this card, because the Wheel of Fortune is described as being about luck or fortune. But the way I see this card is that we make our own way, right? Now, seeing the Magician upright with the Wheel of Fortune in reverse, this could describe another person that you may have been. There may have been some kind of like situation here where there was another person involved, and that person may be embodying this type of character, this archetype of the Magician. This person could be very charismatic, very powerful, particularly good with language, very convincing, a very good salesperson. Excuse me. The card of the Magician is governed by Mercury, which is of course about communication, technology, and it could be describing that the person you may have been working with, this may have been describing some kind of investment or business opportunity or even a relationship, although I'm not totally seeing like a dynamic that describes that here, but I feel like this is more about business. So this person may have talked you into something or worked with you in a way that kind of brought you into their world and folded you into a situation which may not have turned out as you had hoped or as they had maybe led you to believe that it could. And the result is that you may have seen a turn of events that didn't bring you to a higher ground, perhaps. I'm trying to be very careful about the words I use here. In another interpretation, this could be you, and you could be used. I mean, you could see this whole situation as an experiment where you utilize life force energy to channel creation, life force into something that you wanted to see evolve or manifest into something specific. And Wheel of Fortune in reverse here could be suggesting that may not have turned out as you had hoped. So while it was not a failed experiment, there's a lot of value to be gleaned out of it. It may not have turned out as you had imagined or how you had expected, but there's a lot of valuable data here to be mined, and that's what you can take away with and come out of the situation with the Six of Wands upright in a successful posture, in a victorious stance. Okay, I feel like that's it for the general reading. I'm just going to check here, make sure I didn't forget anything. Not necessarily an easy energy, but what I really feel here is your optimism and your positivity, your buoyancy. Like, that's a very Sagittarian thing, maybe a little bit cliche, but I do really feel that while this may have been kind of a difficult journey, and it may still be a little bit difficult as you have the Tower there in the outcome position and the World reversed in and the Wheel of Fortune reversed in your outcome cards, your extended cards here, there may still be a continuation of some of this energy. It may not yet be completely resolved and over. I do feel like you are carrying with you the energy of the Fool, which is this very optimistic, very trusting, very light-hearted energy, which is kind of available to what needs to be done, willing to step forward with responsibility, with a kind of let's get it done kind of energy, but with a light feeling, not a serious, like this. These two cards are almost the opposite, you know, Fool and Devil here together. So I'm feeling very, what's the word? I'm not worried about you. You know, you may be dealing with some difficult circumstances, but I feel that you have very much the capacity to deal with it and to handle it. And I also actually like that the Magician is here in the outcome with the Six of Wands. I do feel like, you know, seeing the World and the Wheel of Fortune here both in reverse, making me feel like there could still be some challenging aspects that you have to deal with. Seeing you come forward here as this Six of Wands upright with the Magician upright is giving me again a sense of hopefulness, trust, of knowing that you have what it takes to handle this situation, and that nobody can walk all over you, nobody can manipulate you. Like, you have awareness. There is awareness here in this situation. You have understanding and awareness, and I feel that there is like a patience here that you're bringing to a situation with a kind of care and a kind of dignity and a kind of thoughtfulness and discernment, that while you're aware about a certain person's or people's, I'm hearing lackluster, like you might be dealing with certain characters that may be, I'm hearing difficult. There might be some difficult people that you have to deal with, or some people that they may not be difficult people, but they may have some qualities that are not that easy to deal with. There may be some like challenging aspects to the way that they approach a problem or a situation, and if it's your responsibility to deal with that person in order to see something through, I feel like you have an awareness about that person's shortcomings, but you're not judging them. You're not mad at them. You're kind of bringing this loving, compassionate, patient energy to this situation, and that's what's making me feel like you're going to be totally fine. Everything's going to be great with your caring hand in the mix of things. So that's the general reading for you, Sagittarius. I'm going to take the Voyager deck now and shuffle again to give your higher octave reading. The higher octave reading is designed to give a little bit more insight into what's happening on a karmic and spiritual level. I just saw a card there that shouldn't be there. Cool. That's definitely a reading for you. This card was in the Voyager deck, I guess after shuffling from the previous reading. So I feel like this is definitely a message for you. The Sun card, obviously a bright, hopeful, positive energy to add to your reading, along with the Magician there and the Six of Wands. It's adding to that last bit of the reading that I just gave there, where I talked about feeling like you have what it takes here to manage all of the energy that you have to deal with, and all the factors that are at play that are influencing you at this time. You definitely can bring a bright, loving, hopeful, compassionate, kind, willing energy to continue through, to see something out to completion, to bring it to its highest possible outcome, even if, as I said, the financial reward may not be available or may not be what you had hoped in the end. You are coming through this spiritual initiation. That's what this is. The Judgment card is saying this has been a very deep and profound schooling on a spiritual level, and you're coming through with like A pluses. Okay, so let's have a look at what the Voyager deck has to say about this. Send your energy over while I'm shuffling. Really tune in and make sure that I get really clear messages for you. Two of Cups reversed at the bottom of the deck. You have the Two of Cups here. Let's see. Seven of Worlds reversed, which is the same card here that you had in this outcome. Seven of Worlds in reverse, as the central card of the reading now. Crossed by Temperance. Eight of Worlds reversed. The Emperor. The Priestess reversed, and Four of Cups reversed. Chariot reversed. Eight of Wands reversed. Time Space, which is Judgment, upright. Woman of Cups, Judgment you had here. So already there's quite a few repeating cards in your reading. Woman of Wands paired with the Woman of Cups, interesting. Two of Wands reversed. Devil's play, so now you have Devil again. Excuse me. And Five of Cups. Okay. Very similar energy in this reading. There's some additional insight here that I will share with you. I feel that something that's being spoken of here, which didn't really come up in the previous reading, is around, again, acceptance and forgiveness, and trust. There's also something here with the Priestess in reverse in this position of the reading that's kind of saying here that potentially there is a little bit of a nod here to perhaps you may have had an intuition about this situation before you went into it, and you may have ignored it, or you may have received guidance or advice from someone that you may not have taken on, but rather you chose to go forward into a situation anyway. And there's no right or wrong here. This is not a judgment. You're not getting a judgment from me. This is just saying that this may be a little like kind of circling back here to just remind you that you may have had an inkling about this situation before you stepped into it, and your choice to go into it doesn't mean that you were wrong, that you should have listened to that intuition. It's just saying that was there. And so maybe this is a chance for you to just, in your memory, circle back to that and just see, like, this could just be simply, this whole thing could have just simply been about you understanding that your intuition was on point. That could be something, because you have here the Woman of Cups and the Woman of Wands in the outcome position of your reading, both upright. Both of these cards are talking about very sensitive and intuitive, very attuned energy, feminine energy. This, again, both kind of indicating very, very highly attuned intuition. So that could be what some of this was about. You had the Queen of Swords in the reverse in the previous spread. So there's something there for sure about that. Now you also have here at the foundation of the reading, the Emperor in the upright position. The Emperor is number 4 from the Major Arcana. Being that this is at the foundation of the reading, I feel that there is something here about potentially your own personal, I'm hearing deliverance. I don't know if that could be something to do with economics, like a deliverance on an investment, or deliverance like someone's, like the return, you know, like I'm feeling that has something to do with that Seven of Pentacles from the previous reading. Like the Emperor is someone who is very established, very like financially stable, but also more like in a financial, not just in a financial way, but in an energetic way, is very much a master of his domain, has very much mastered the physical plane, has established themselves as a specific frequency on earth, and they're very much centered and sitting in the seat of their own power and their own authority. So seeing this card here in the foundation for you is kind of saying to me that this experience is definitely part of your journey on that way of exploring and discovering who you are as an empowered physical entity, like a human that's really embodying a space of like, this is my domain kind of a vibe. And for some of you, this experience may have had something to do with like building. There may have been something here about an investment to do with real estate or building. That could be what this Emperor here is also speaking about. Now in this position here, okay, let's start from the center, because they had this Seven of Pentacles here in the reverse position, which, as I mentioned, you had in the previous spread, the same card in the same both in the reverse position. How I'm seeing this here at the center of this reading, crossed by the Temperance, is that this is more about you maybe having kind of understood that this experience may not actually, as I've said a few times already, generate the financial result that you'd hoped for. In this reading, it's saying here that experience or that fact is something that you need to resolve and sort of emotionally reconcile. It's about reconciliation, acceptance, and forgiveness if there has been like a disappointment. And you have the Five of Cups here in reverse in this deck, which is called disappointment. So if that is your experience, the Temperance card as your crossing card is just there to say that work with the energy of disappointment, work with the energy of feeling maybe sad or, you know, emotionally in some way, whatever you may be feeling. Work to resolve and reconcile that in a calm and patient and accepting way, rather than feel frustrated and carrying forward with resentment or disappointment or any kind of emotional baggage about this situation. It's really important that you kind of reconcile things in a way that enables you to move forward without carrying a sense of loss into the next experience with you, because that will generate another result like this. It's really important that you put this away, you file it, like create new emotional responses to the situation, rather than allowing your automatic emotional responses to these kind of situations to play out. It's important here to interrupt the flow of automated response and generate a new emotional and intellectual understanding of the situation, so that you don't allow unconsciously some of this energy to move forward with you into the next. Okay. There's Four of Cups in reverse there called anger as well. I feel that that's also tied to that whole download that I just gave there, so I won't repeat that. Now, Eight of Wands here in reverse with the Devil in reverse. This is saying to me that, again, there needs to be kind of a clarified understanding over the experience. Again, having the Devil card come out twice in the reading is definitely saying that there is like... There is value to be gleaned out of the shadow aspects of the experience, and not to disregard, you know, I feel like there's also something here about not writing someone off as a bad person because they may have behaved badly, or there may have been some disappointing elements around a person's style of doing things or around certain aspects of their personality. I think there's something there to be said about still valuing that person, and maybe even if, depending on where you are on your own personal trajectory of, you know, your evolving process, you may or may not be available or ready to kind of communicate certain things to someone about your experience to help them understand the influence that they've had on you, and maybe even shine back a reflection to them on things that they may not see about themselves, as long as you bring it with that intuitive, loving, kind, compassionate energy of these two queens here. And be really careful not to kind of throw blame or shade around at someone, or make accusations, or be aggressive in any way towards someone, because that will have a very detrimental effect. Could potentially have a really a backward action on that person's development if they are triggered in a certain way by any kind of energy coming towards them that could be offensive or hurtful. So it's very important that you step very lightly and very particularly around this topic, and use your discernment to understand if the timing is right and if everything's in the right place for you to be able to broach certain topics, if you feel like they can be received in the way that they're meant to be received, in the way of a kind of loving, kind, teaching, sharing kind of a way. So step with caution in that regard. Now, you have, as I said, the time space card, which is judgment. Again, in this reading, you had it here in the previous reading. It's this one here. Again, I will reiterate what I said previously, in that I feel the judgment card is definitely an indicator that this has been, or it is an initiation. It's a deep spiritual learning that you're getting you're getting educated in specific ways in order to hone specific tools that you are then going to be able to move forward with in life, that will empower you in better decision making, better judgment, better insight and use of foresight and use of more wisdom. Basically, this is a gathering of wisdom through a challenging experience. And the Two of Wands here is called purity in this deck. Again, this could be about some kind of, on a kind of tangent, this could be some kind of like a purification of a spiritual contract that you may have had with someone, where you are now able to like release some ties of something, some kind of entanglement from a previous moment, whether this lifetime or another, where there's some kind of residual cords or threads of energy that have been unresolved previously. This is your chance for a do-over. So using that awareness around that energy, make sure that you do kind of come through this situation with total clarity and purification, so that you don't necessarily have to redo this again at another time. Okay. And the crowning card here is the Eight of Worlds in reverse. It's called change. So I feel that it's in reverse here. Perhaps there is still, as I said, there's still some tying up to do, loose ends. It's incomplete, but you're definitely deep in a process of a transformation here. And it is really vital that you do see it through to the end. I don't feel like this is a situation where you can walk away now and say, I don't need this. I really feel like this is an important process to complete with utter thoroughness. So be very meticulous in this endeavor. Let's have a look at the bottom of the deck. Two of Cups reversed, Seven of Crystals, Seven of Cups reversed, and Nine of Worlds reversed. Okay. Again, I feel like this is an indicator that a union or a partnership of some kind may have not had a thrilling outcome. Like there's definitely, like this is speaking again about disappointment, about perhaps there could have been some misleading or dishonest, behavior or activity from someone. It could have been you as well. These readings always can go either way. So always check yourself, like don't let yourself get carried away in some fantasy of you being the victim if you're not. Now, Seven of Crystals in reverse with the upright with the Two of Cups. As I said, there could have been some kind of transgression here, or some kind of, I'm hearing misloyalty or some kind of dishonesty there that is being worked through. But as I've said previously, I feel like you have a level of awareness that is enabling a kind of purification and enlightenment to be, it's kind of washing. I feel like this sort of washing energy, a clearing, a purifying energy here that is coming through, again, with a willingness. This takes a humility, this takes courage, this takes, again, like sheer willpower and effort. That's the Chariot there as well. And finally, the last two cards, Seven of Cups in reverse, Nine of Worlds in reverse. I feel that, again, the Nine of Worlds in reverse is saying that you may not come away from this with the financial reward that you may have gone into it with, but there's this energy here around, like, I'm seeing this very humble gratitude that you can embody that brings you to be able to really gather so much here out of this situation that is maybe more than money could buy. So keep that in mind as you're coming through maybe the last kind of tail end of this situation here, and whenever you start to feel frustrated or irritable or like over it, completely over it, just come back to that space of being super grateful for the opportunities provided to you by this situation. And it's something, it's more than just like, I don't mean to sound like flippant or corny or anything when I say this, but there's something here that I'm feeling with this energy that's so, it's profoundly deep, like a very old, you may or may not do like past life stuff, and I tend not to kind of give too much attention to it because I feel like what's important is now. But I feel like there's some really old karmic stuff here that's being resolved, that you're having the chance to really clean up and put away in the most highest vibration of energy work that there is possible. So keep that in mind as you're kind of closing this cycle out, and really do your best to stay present to all the difficulties that you might be facing, and bring that loving, compassionate, optimistic, intuitive, sensitive, knowing and feeling and caring to this whole situation, and you're going to come through shining, as I said, A++. So you're close to, I feel like they're kind of quite close to like a total resolution here of something, as I said, that has been old and lingering for some time. And what you're able to do if and when you kind of really totally complete this is really put an end to a very long cycle of some kind of very specific issue that you may have been dealing with over and over again. And maybe in this lifetime, in like recent years, you might have seen something like this before, and it may have been something that you have been unaware of until a little while ago, but when you became aware of it, you may have become really frustrated by it. I feel like this is like the one that it's going to be finally like, we're done now. Got it. We got that one. I can file that away and move on with life into a much higher vibration of interacting with life and love and abundance and a kind of liberation. There's a liberation here that you'll be able to garner from coming through this with total meticulousness and precision. So stick in there, Sagittarius, you got this. I really believe in you. I trust you. I'm not worried about you. I know that you've got this handled, but you do have to stick it through until the end. Okay. That was your reading, Sagittarius. I hope you found that insightful. I hope there's some things in there that you can work with. It's an honor and a pleasure to read for you. That was really fun. I enjoyed that reading. Do watch it again because there's a lot of information in there, and you may want to give it a review maybe at the end of this month, maybe in a couple months from now, when you feel like if you need a reminder of anything that you've heard here. Do bookmark this one, save it in a playlist somewhere, come back to it later. If you haven't subscribed yet, please do. If you have, thank you so much. It means everything to have you here. Thank you for your support. Thank you for liking and subscribing and sharing. I look forward to seeing you in next month's reading.